edition of Shed Talk, my weekly magazine video series looking at the keeping, breeding and showing of cage birds, with a particular focus on the exhibition style budgerigar. So what have we got for you in this episode? Well, the first thing is we are going to have a look at the early preparation of the show team. So I'm going to show you how I wash the bird and what I used in order to do that, and along with that we will get those extra couple of birds out of the nappy flight, and we'll have a look at those that are also likely to make the show team. I must admit, after I had finished last week's episode and went back through the breeding records and have another look at the cage, I thought, I'm sure I've got more cock birds than the 3 that I had got out from the nappy flight, and indeed I think there were at least another 3 in there, so we might have a little bit more to choose from, and we will have a look at those. Along with looking at those birds that make the show team, I'll also get the 3 fifes out during fife and breeding to bench. Having completed the breeding phase of this, we're starting to move into the bench phase of it. So we'll get those out and we'll have a look at those compared to the standard for the fife canaries. So that's what we'll mainly focus on in this particular episode. As always, if you do enjoy the videos, don't forget the like button. Please do comment on the videos. I do look at all the comments and I try to answer them all. And of course, if you haven't yet subscribed, then do hit the subscribe button and early notifications, then hit the bell and you will receive them. Right, let's have a look at preparing the birds for the first show. So it's time then to get one of the birds out, and I'll demonstrate how I go about cleaning it in preparing it for the show. So I'll show you that the very first thing that I do is give each of the birds a really thorough wash, and the equipment that I'm using for that you can see here. So the first thing then is some baby shampoo. Baby shampoo obviously will go into the bowl of warm water. It doesn't need to be too hot but also not too cold, so some warm water, and I'm using baby shampoo because it's gentle on the eyes, so you know it doesn't hurt. It's designed so that it won't hurt the baby's eyes, and therefore if any does get in the bird's eyes, it isn't going to irritate it too much. The other thing, so that's the main thing then, so baby shampoo into a bowl of warm water. The other thing that I'll be using, of course, is a toothbrush. I'll use this around any of the stubborn marks, and what I thought I'd do is get the cobalt out, because you may remember that the cobalt had a fair bit of dirt marks, I think some blood from pin feathers, so we'll get that one out and we'll try and give that a good clean. In some cases it may take a little bit longer to clean than in others, so you might have to do this a couple of times, but I would only ever wash the bird thoroughly once, and then after that I would just clean the head up, and that's what the toothbrush is for. It's just an old, clearly just an old toothbrush. The other thing that the toothbrush will do is if they do have any pin feathers and you work on it, it can loosen that sort of waxy shell that's around the pin feather, and help the feather to come through more easily. I know some people will actually cut the pin feather slightly and remove the waxy case to enable the feather to come out. It's not something I would do unless I was going to one of the major shows and there was a bird particularly that I wanted to get out for that show. Normally I like to let them come through. There is a risk if you're removing the pin feather in that way that it may bleed, and then you've got to clean the bird up all over again. But like I say, lots of people will do that, so if that's what you want to do, then by all means go ahead and just flip the pin feather and remove it. And I find if you wet it enough, it will come off in most cases relatively easy anyway. Right, so that's the equipment that I'm using. Almost forgot, the final thing in the list of equipment is of course a towel for drying the bird with. I think I mentioned in the last episode, we've had some really hot weather here, so it is nice and warm in the shed. It's not, boiling hot, so it's not like the birds are struggling in here. Fortunately, the budgerigar flight actually, being a brick-built building, evens the heat out a little bit. But if it was cold, for the shows later on in the year, then you may want to dry them with a hairdryer as well as give them a dry with a towel. But in warm weather, I find just drying them with a towel, getting the worst of the weather off, and then letting them dry naturally in the stock cage is fine for them. So let's show you how I deal with that cobalt. now got the last two out, and they're currently sat on the same perch, so I will try and get one to move, but they're not very comfortable in the show cage, being young birds. And we've got a cinnamon dark green, which is the one at the front, who's just breaking his cap, so he's still very young. And then behind we've actually got an opaline sky blue, which doesn't look too bad. They are both cockbirds, I'm sure of that, well, sure as I can be. I do think there's a third cockbird in the flight, but at the moment it's very young and I'm not convinced it will get out for the first show anyway, so I'm going to give it a little bit longer, let it develop in the main flight before we move it. So anyway, let's see if I can get one of these to move without them both jumping around the cage. Okay, you might be able to get a slightly better view now of the opaline sky blue. Looks like it might be quite a reasonable bird, this one actually. See if I can get her to stand a bit better. Well, she's up on the perch. See if I can keep her attention a little bit. I won't let them spend too long in here, or if I do, I'll give them some time on their own in the show cage. Give them a bit more show cage training. Definitely need it, but I think this one might go out for the 1910 show anyway. So there we go, that's the last two. I'll pop them both into the stock cage, and then I'll give them a clean, as you've seen in earlier. I'll give these two, and also give the I'll also give these two a wash. Right, so we've looked at the last of the young budgerigars that we're going to put out for the young bird show. What I will do now is I'll go and collect the 3 young canaries, pop them into their relevant show cages, and we'll have a look at those in fives from breeding to bench. So this is the first of the young canaries then. It's a variegated, and I'm going for it being a buff bird. I can just about make out the ring or the lighter markings around the neck, and from what I can gather it's a duller colour than it would be if it was a yellow bird, so I'm going for a buff. I have no idea whether it's a cock or a hen, so I'll just see if I can get him to swap perches. Maybe not. So let's have a look then. So some rise above the beak, which is what we're looking for apparently, and then round over the top of the head, and then it should go in an S shape from the neck. Not sure if there's a break in the neck. Looks to me like there is, but I've got a rubbish eye, and my guess is it should be rounder on the back, but it's still going through the molt, as you can probably see. This bird's definitely still going through the molt. Wing carriage is, well, it holds them on the bottom. They're not crossed, so I'm guessing that's alright. This is the very first time this bird has been in a show cage, so I'm hoping it will settle a bit more. I'm going to give it about an hour in the show cage at the moment, just so they can settle. I will put water in the drinker, and I'm going to put a little bit of seed on top, as I understand that will help them to find it. So I don't know. Like I say, I'm very, very new to all this. So the other thing that I just want to have a quick do is look at it from the top down. If I can get some a view of that, I will do. And it should look sort of egg shaped from the top down. It's obviously not happy at the moment. Needs a lot more showcase training. There we go. What I might do is see if I can get a still of this, so once it settles a little bit, get a still and we can have a look at it via a still. Anyway, I won't stress it anymore. I'll pop him back up onto the top. And then we'll have a look at the next one, which is a ticked bird. So this is the next of the young canaries. Like I say, it's a ticked bird, I believe. Tail looks a bit of a mess, so I will need to clear that up before I take it out for the show. Again, don't know if it's a cock or a hen, and I'm just guessing now, and I'm not 100% certain, I'm just guessing, as I say, that this is a yellow. The feathers certainly look a little bit more brighter than the previous bird. So I'm going to go for this one as being a yellow. In terms of its overall what it looks like, not got quite the same rise above the top of the beak. It's very round over the top of the head, goes down, and a familiar S shape at the back. It's still pulling a little bit, I think, so I'm hoping once he's had a bit more showcase training, they relax a little bit, but they'll be show themselves a bit better. So in terms of standing up off the perch, I think it probably dropped down a little bit, not got quite the right stance. Looks alright underneath. In terms of the wing carriage, yep, they sit nicely at the base of the tail. I'll just check it from the top. With my very, and I'm saying again, very novice eye, I would say this bird was better than the first one, but that might just be me. When he looks like that, like he is at the moment, I quite like him. Just needs, he's dropping, his legs aren't quite right, I don't think, in terms of their position. But there we go. Okay, I'm going to pop him up and give him about an hour in the show cage. I'll top his drinker up and put a bit of seed on top, as with the other one. So the final bird we're going to look at then is this clear. And this bird looks to me to be very, very tense in the show cage. I know it's the first time it's been in, but it looks very tense and pulling really badly. The wings aren't correct, so they're very dropped at the moment, and it's not showing that fife shape. Interestingly enough, and you can't see it, I might try and get a video of it, but the other two are now sat above the stock cage where I'm keeping the young budgerigars, and the heavily variegated is now showing itself much better. Like I say, it's the first time these birds have been in, so they're very tense at the moment, and this is definitely pulling, you can see, showing no shape at all. For me, this again looks to me to be a buff, so a clear buff. And again, I don't know. I did just hear the heavily variegated give a little trill, so I'm wondering, I'm going to put that one down as a cock bird for now. I'm just going to have a look at this one from the top down. And the same again here. I'm going to need to, you can see the very poor wing carriage there, even when he is a little bit more relaxed. Yeah, I'm not happy with this one at all. A yellow, because I think I can see the ring around the neck. But we'll wait and see, eh? Right, I'm going to give this some water and give them about an hour, and hopefully they will find the water. Like I said, I'll put some little bits of seed on top, and I heard somebody else talking about doing that, so help them to find it. He's relaxing a little bit more now and got a bit more shape. He's watching the other two that are up on top of the stop cage. So whilst he's got a bit more shape to him now, or her, still got poor wing carriage. Yeah, don't like this one. Although I expect when it goes in front of the judges, this one will probably come out best. There you go. Anyway, that's my very early eye on these birds, looking at the, comparing them to the standard. Anyway, they've got a little bit longer. I'll give them another, I'll start getting them out hopefully a couple of times a week, although maybe every day next week, because this week I haven't got a lot of time in the shed. Well, that is just about all we've got time for in this episode. I'm keeping the young fives in the show cage for a little while, and having done that, I've looked at them when they've settled a bit more, and this here is without doubt my favourite bird. But I'll wait and see. He's actually very loose because he's molting, but he stands reasonably well, looks okay to me, not too bad. The clear looks the worst to me. I've also heard both this bird and the clear chirping while they've been in here, so I'm going to put them both down as cock birds, but who knows. Anyway, there we go. That's these. I'll put that one away, and then we can let him settle again. But as I say, that I will get these out over the next week or so, and they'll go out to Oxford 1910. Just need to get used to finding where the water is. So that's it from this episode. As always, if you do enjoy it, don't forget to comment, particularly on these young fives and anything else you see in the video. And of course, do hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. But until the next time, from this young five and myself, stay safe, enjoy your birds.